on the Fuse UK. It's the one and only, the man of the hour, the man with the power, the man too sweet to be sour. He is your friend. He is my friend, but he's not the friend behind the person standing behind you. Luke Hughes.
Yes, people, what's happening? A nice one for coming back to the Fuse UK. It's much appreciated as always. We've got the main man on tonight, the man behind all the entertainment, all the bare knuckle action, none other than the president of the BKFC, Mr. David Feldman. What's happening, mate? You good?
What's going on, Lou? How are you, buddy?
I'm all good, my mate. How are you?
I'm great, man. Getting ready for a big week.
Yeah, mate, definitely. I was wondering, just before we jump on to KnuckleMania, mate, if we could talk a bit about BKFC 60, Milton Keynes.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Great show. Started out with a little bit lopsided matches, easy knockouts, first round knockouts, and then it's finished off with 3 or 4 bangers, man. Really great fights. The UK is certainly coming around. We're going to make sure that the fights are always matched really good, and that we're gonna do a hell of a job. Where we have a great partnership now with Premier Sports, and we're going to be aired all of our events on there. And I think that really widens our reach for the UK. I think that's what we needed for the UK, and now we have it. So it's really just all about how we capitalize on that now.
Yes, definitely. I know a couple of the fighters picked up some bad early injuries as well, like Robbie Brown, for example. He had to go for like plastic surgery on his eye, and that, just for the people who thought that some of the fighters took knees and that, like, that wasn't the case. Do you know what I mean?
No, absolutely. Look, I didn't. Some of those guys go in there. This is a different sport, right? This is not boxing. This is not MMA. You get a knuckle in the eye. You get hit a little bit different on the side of your face or on your nose, and it's a whole different injury. So I'm not taking anything away from these guys. I'm just saying that some of them were just, very fast fights. And didn't get a ton of entertainment to the fans, and then we ended up like just blowing the doors off of it with the last 3 fights were just phenomenal.
Yeah, unbelievable. Like I always say, you must love Gary Fox, because he's your type of fighter, and he's someone who just there's no quitting him whatsoever.
Man, he comes to fight, he comes to bang, and look, man, he met his match that night, right? He had Ella Shepherd took the fight last minute notice, and ended up stepping up. I mean, 2 guys, Gary Fox is a guy I'll bring back any day of the week. He can lose 10 in a row, and he fights the way he fights. I'll bring him back any day of the week. Ella Shepherd's got some really good charisma, and I think he could definitely be a star in the making.
Yeah, like, and if you watch the fight as well, I think it's early in the second round, he had like a slice on a vein in the top of his head, Gary. That's why it wouldn't stop. And he's just constantly rubbing blood out his eyes, but no quitting him whatsoever. Like, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
No, I mean, he's a tough dude. He can certainly fight, and those things happen in bare knuckle that don't happen in other sports, right? It's just unfortunate sometimes, but I mean, and that's what makes it so exciting, right? You think maybe someone's going to win, and then some little thing happens that alters the pace of the fight, and then we have a different outcome that we weren't expecting. But we got a guy in Ella Shepherd. Like I said, I think we can build him. A guy like Gary Fox, obviously, we'll bring him back anytime he wants to come back. Good guy, and really tough fighter.
Yeah, 100%. And Danny Christie, David Round, that was another great fight. Obviously, it was Danny's last fight at light heavyweight as well. What did you think of that fight?
I mean, again, another great fight. Danny Christie, he was the Danny Christie of old. David Round is just, man, one tough effort, man. I mean, dude is tough. And Danny Christie, I think we're going to do some good things with him. I've been waiting for him to come back and get a good win under his belt. He did. And, now we're going to see what's next for him.
Yes, and the main event, James Lilly and Franco Tenaglia. What a fight, man.
I mean, look, I think James Lilly is the most respectful, nicest person I've ever met on my roster at BKFC ever. Like, just what a class guy he is. And he's got a lot going for him outside of fighting. But man, this guy can fight. And he got hit with that beautiful was it a left hook he got hit with? I think
Yeah.
beautiful left hook. And no, I would say 99% of the fighters got hit with that left hook when they got up. And he got up and finished that fight. And look, again, James Lilly will always be back, man. Great guy and great fighter. But I think, a star may have been born that night with Franco Tenaglia. We have something big we're going to announce pretty soon. We're going to do something in Spain. We're going to announce a great fight card there. It's going to be a tremendous event, and it's going to be in the summer. And as soon as we get all the details done, we'll shoot that over and get that thing announced. But it's going to be a tremendous event. But like I said, the UK in general, it's just a matter of, look, in the United States, it was a little different. We had the fuel, we had the funding to really just take it by storm, and the UK had to start a little slower. But now we have the deal with Premier, and I think it's just going to widen everything up for us. We're going to get sponsorships over there now. It's going to get more notoriety to the fighters. We're going to be able to tell their stories now. So I think it's just going to do everything that we needed, and we couldn't be happier than to have that kind of partnership.
Yeah, great, mate. And just before we move on, I went over to Spain to do a bit of promo filming with Franco for the build-up to the fight he had with James Lilly. And I swear to God, everywhere we went for food, everywhere we were walking, that man's like fucking Tom Cruise over there. Like, just people thought of Franco. Franco thought he's so famous over there. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, he told me he was, but, a lot of people say, I'm so famous, in my hometown, or I'll sell this many tickets, but I heard must have talked to 12 people there, 12 different people, like for the business, and every one of them was like, I think this guy will fill an arena.
Yeah, definitely will, mate, 100%. And the plan now with the UK is still to have like a show pretty much every month till November. Is that still the plan?
Yeah, we'll see. We might have to tweak one thing, but I mean, for the most part, yeah, absolutely. It's about building the fighters, telling their story, get to know them, getting them experience, and then moving them into the bigger fights. We are going to do we're hoping to do a bigger fight there around October, like a major BKFC event. So we should have that announced here in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But that looks like it could be very, very promising. Really depends on the outcome of this fight on Saturday. So, got to kind of do some math problems when we're done with this event and see if we can get that one all over the line.
Yeah, awesome. And the European title opens it up a lot for some big fights, doesn't it? I went over to Bulgaria as well. I went and watched that event, done some like filming and that over there for them. And that event, mate, the stadium was packed. The fights were class. What a show.
Yeah, man. It's great that we get to sorry about that. It's great that we get to do events over there in Bulgaria, get the kind of crowds we have and get the kind of fights we have. Like, I mean, warrior fights, just fights that you were standing on your feet the whole entire time. Great fights. Lubo did a hell of a job of getting that thing together. And now we're going to do another fight there in November. We're also going to be opening up BKFC Poland. We're going to be opening up, like I said, BKFC Spain. We're going to be opening up BKFC Australia, BKFC Japan. We actually have a surprise coming up next Monday. We have one of our BKFC fighters will be fighting on the Rising Show in the first ever bare knuckle fight in Japan ever, and that'll happen Monday the 29th. So just so many tremendous things are happening for the company, and I think the UK we didn't give it a lot of love. I got to be honest with you, as a company from the whole, because we were concentrating a lot more in the United States. And now that we know that our partners over there can really, take this thing home and drive this thing for us, we're going to dump a lot of resources over there. And I think in the next 12 months, it's gonna make a huge difference for Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship in the UK. And I think it's going to have a great footprint.
Yeah, that's great to hear, mate. That's good to hear. And this weekend, we've got a massive card at KnuckleMania in LA. What's your thoughts on this as a whole? You must be excited for this one.
Yeah, it's a big card. It's a lot of stress. It's their first card in California. They have a lot of different rules and regulations put in place. Tickets are selling. I think we'll be sold out by the time we get in there, which is about 8,000 people. We expect to do really well. We have a lot of great fights on that undercard, and then obviously we got the main event with Thiago Alves taking on Platinum Mike Perry. That's going to be a tough fight. You got, you know, two guys undefeated in bare knuckle fighting each other for the main event. You got Ben Rothwell taking on Todd Duffy with the fastest knockout in heavyweight UFC history. Then you got also Alfredo Angulo, former world title challenger, one of the toughest, not one of the best, but one of the toughest Mexican boxers that you'll ever see. And he's going to be making his bare knuckle debut as well with BKFC at KnuckleMania. I'm super excited for the card. The stars that are going to be in attendance are just phenomenal. A lot of our investors are coming from all over the world. It's going to be a turning point for BKFC. And, you know, I said it on a lot of events, and a lot of events do turn, but this one I think is going to really, really turn. We've got a lot of great people coming to that event and fighting on that event, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I expect huge things coming out of that event. I know we have a major Hollywood director coming out there because he wants to do a docuseries on us, and I think after he sees the fights in person, he's going to be blown away.
Yeah, like we've said many times before, it's great to watch on telly, but when you're there live listening to the shot, it's total different gravy, isn't it?
Crazy, Lou.
And the fight that everybody's talking about over here, David, is obviously our very own Mick Terrill versus the light heavyweight champ, the cruiserweight champ, now stepping up to heavyweight, the crazy guy, the juggernaut, the face, as many people would say, BKFC. This is an exciting fight, mate.
I mean, look, man, you got a guy who's probably one of the best bare knuckle fighters ever, Lorenzo Hunt, and then you got another guy that's probably one of the best bare knuckle fighters that ever came out of the UK. And some people question him for when he fought Arnold Adams the first time, but I told people, I said, look, this guy was sick. He legitimately was sick. He came off of COVID, and you know, he ended up taking a knee, but he showed in the rematch that it was a different Mick Terrill, and you know, he wanted it. This is an interesting fight, man. I honestly don't know what to think. Like some days I'm going, you know, Lorenzo is just going to walk right to him and unload them punches, and it's going to be hard for Mick to take. And then the next day I'm like, man, I don't think Lorenzo Hunt can take Mick's power. Like every day I'm going back and forth, and I think that's what makes it such an intriguing fight, because I'm literally like, man, what is going to happen in this fight? You know, some of the fights I'm like, I kind of can peg the outcome, like this is probably what's going to happen, but this one every day I'm going back and forth on.
Yeah, he's done well, Mick Terrill. Like, he's done well, hasn't he, in the bare knuckle for the UK?
He's done great. I mean, but, you know, this is, you know, not taking anything down on the UK, but when they were fighting before it started really evoluting over there, they were fighting a lot of guys that weren't really professional fighters, just guys that were doing, you know, bare knuckle as amateurs and then coming up. Now you got Mick Terrill beating one of the best heavyweights that we had, Arnold Adams. And, you know, he's got a lot of power. He's a big guy. He can take a good punch, and he's got a big test in front of him come Saturday night at KnuckleMania. And Lorenzo Hunt has literally the biggest test of his entire career coming up against Mick Terrill. And, you know, whoever wins that fight, I think deserves a superstar fight.
Yeah, they definitely do, mate. And I'm going to ask you, what is your prediction for fight of the night?
Man, you know, the Alfredo Angulo, Jeremiah Riggs could be. I mean, the one we're talking about right now, Mick Terrill versus Lorenzo Hunt, I don't think it has anything else but fireworks written all over it. I know that Thiago Alves is going to walk right to Mike Perry, and Mike Perry is going to walk right to Thiago Alves, so that could be an absolute war. And then you got Todd Duffy and Ben Rothwell. You got some fights on the undercard that are just sensational. I mean, honestly, man, there could be 5 or 6 fight of the night candidates on this card, man, and I don't know, but I know one thing: I'm fucking excited to watch this show, man. Come Saturday night, man, and it's going to be amazing. And if you're a BKFC subscriber, it's included in your subscription, no upcharge at all. If you're not, you can buy it at Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship YouTube page or at Fight/Triller TV. But if you're a loyal subscriber, as a lot of these guys are, man, you know, it's all included. We don't want to upcharge you at all. We just want you to enjoy a great night of fights. It's going to be a phenomenal night of fights. And if things go the way I plan, hopefully I'm not speaking too soon, but I think I have the biggest announcement that we ever made in the history of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship coming up at KnuckleMania. So we're going to make an epic, game-changing announcement on KnuckleMania.
Class. That's wicked. And just for the people watching there, the link's going to be in the description of this video to download the BKFC app if you already haven't. Got quite a few people in here, so it'd be great if you could go and do that now. But we've just got a few questions, David, from the fans. Is Rigondeaux going to be fighting for BKFC?
Yeah, Rigondeaux's going to fight. He's going to make his debut really soon. We're actually going to announce the whole card pretty soon, but he's definitely going to fight. I think. I question marked it a little bit. I mean, his accolades are unbelievable. He's accomplished so many things in the world of boxing, but he was also a little boring, right? Like, he wasn't the most exciting fighter in the world. And people say he's going to be boring here, and I said, you can't be boring here. You can't be boring here. It's a different world. And when his opponent grabs the back of his neck, it changes the whole entire game, right? And I just think fighting with bare knuckle, it's a whole different world. So we're going to give him a crack, and we're going to see what he has left.
Yeah, that'll be class. And former RBF world champion Steve Cunningham, who floored Tyson Fury in the professional bout he had with him, he's been putting a lot of stuff out lately saying he wants to fight for BKFC. And is that something that could happen in the future?
I honestly didn't hear a lot about that, but look, I grew up with Steve Cunningham being in the Philly gyms. I know him very well. And it's definitely something that I would entertain talking to him about and seeing if he's interested and seeing if we can get something across the line. I mean, he fought everybody, man. Cruiserweight to heavyweight. I mean, he went up with the big boys. He went down with the cruiserweights. I mean, this guy can fight, and he's excitement. He's always in an exciting fight. So it definitely would be something we'd be interested in.
Great. Is Connor Tini going to be out anytime soon?
Yeah, we're gonna announce a card here for the summer in the UK, and he's gonna be on that card. Definitely have some plans for him. For sure. I want to get him back in there. He had a lot of talent, a lot of charisma, and he fought a guy and didn't train very well for it, and didn't turn out well for him. They did a boxing match, so we got to get him back on the winning streak. But certainly he's gonna be back within the next couple of months for sure.
Great. And is it true Darren Till has turned down $2 million to fight Mike Perry at BKFC?
Nah, he didn't. He didn't turn down $2 million, man. He did turn down a very, very lucrative payday, but it wasn't $2 million. But it was his biggest payday of his career, and he turned it down.
One nightmare. Hopefully he'll turn over soon. But is there anything that you want to share with us, David, before we wrap the podcast up?
Nah, man, we're just excited to continue our run in the UK. We're excited for this show Saturday night, and then we have another show in 2 weeks at the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. That's going to be a great card as well. Just got a lot of great cards rolling out at the end of this year. We're launching BKFC Mexico on May 25th. That'll be in Puebla, Mexico, and TV Azteca in Mexico. So that's going to be a sensational card as well. Drew, like I said, we're just rolling out a lot of big things, and a lot of big announcements are coming. But fingers crossed, I'm not guaranteeing it, but I'm 99.9% there. On Saturday night, I had the biggest game-changing announcement that we ever could make.
Mint. Can't wait to hear it, mate. I can't wait to hear it. I appreciate your time as always, David. You've always given me your time and that, and it's much appreciated. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, pal.
Awesome. Take care, Lou, and take care to BKFC UK fans. And tune in on Saturday night.
Wicked, mate. Speak soon, pal.
Bye-bye.
Yes, people, Mr. David Feldman giving us the ins and outs of what's going to be happening in the UK and KnuckleMania this weekend. Podcast was sponsored by RST Transportation and Recoveries, Big Respect, and Noir Boxing. Thank you very much for supporting the channel as always. Good night, God.